Hello and welcome to another session of the Streaming School. Today we've got a real special treat. I've got my really good friend, Mr. Trevor Benstock, to come in and deliver a course or a session on well-being. Now, this is going to be something that's really, really important, especially in this current time. And one of the things I love about Trevor is his unique view on so many things. And I think it's really the kind of things that a lot of students and parents actually could benefit from right now. So a very good morning to you, Trevor. How are you, buddy?
Good morning, Ian. I'm very well. How are you?
How's things your end?
Yeah, it's good. You know, I'm about to talk about mindfulness, so I have to say everything's fine. I'm very relaxed.
You really backed yourself up into a corner there, haven't you?
I have, yeah. No, actually, part of what I was talking about as we get onto this is just that you've got to take it as it comes.
The way we work with everything, buddy, is that we will share over the screen. I know this is your first one. It'll be on your phone whenever you want to go from the screen and back and forward and back. You just let us know. And yeah, the floor is yours. Would you like to start on your face or on the screen?
Okay, great. So I suppose the best thing to do really is explain what is mindfulness and what is well-being. Well-being obviously is talked about much these days. And I think sometimes people take different tangents. They take different examples as to what I think that means. But generally, it's just about looking after yourself. And I know that sounds really simple and something that we could do very easily. We often get bogged down with too many stresses and strains, and we think about the pressures that come from outside our own influence, and it dominates our thoughts. So mindfulness really is taking a little bit of time just to relax and just trying to disconnect a little bit from all the anxieties that can be put upon us. So by trade, I should mention actually that I work at a college now. I'm actually a techie, but many, many years ago, I trained as a hypnotherapist. And I think that really opens my interest into the subject of mental health, well-being, and how we can condition ourselves just to get the most out of ourselves and reach our potential. So I'll just move on to the first slide in my presentation to really just explain what mindfulness is, and I've touched on it a little bit now. Many of you may be masters of it already. You might be better at it than I am, because it's just really zoning out and daydreaming, but it's done so in a controlled way, and it's done when you feel it's necessary as well. So some of us, for example, when we watch something on television or we listen to music, we sometimes feel ourselves going into what we call a bit more of a relaxed state. It's known as alpha brainwave state. This is, that's the more scientific term. Really, it's just a feeling of relaxation. And you can bring it about. The more you practice it, the easier it gets. I've mentioned a few things here which I find trigger it for me. I play guitar, and I find playing any musical instruments pretty relaxing. It just allows you to switch off a little bit and go into a slightly different state of mind. Similarly, although we don't get out much at the moment, when we do go out, I walk my dogs, and I find just that walk, just especially in nature around fractal patterns, they just relax the mind, you zone out a little bit, and you just take some time just to maybe concentrate on your breathing, maybe just glimpsing around your surroundings, just letting those anxieties and thoughts go. And it's very healthy for the physical body as well as it is for the mind. We suffer from stresses, and there's a hormone called cortisol, and that sometimes, if you are anxious, gets built up in our systems, and it can cause our immune systems to dip. And again, relevant to these times, we don't want our immune systems to dip. We want to be in optimal health. So mindfulness helps put some space between our emotions and our reactions. Another thing we often do is we have habits, and habits can be formed subconsciously through reactions. Sometimes something triggers it, and automatically we get anxious or worried. And what we try to do with mindfulness is break that chain a little bit. So we just take a step back and just relax. Okay, so moving on. I'm going to play a small video in a second, because I think this guy is quite a character and he explains it much better than I do in terms of the simplicity, really, of mindfulness. He also touches on meditation, and the terms often are intertwined. I don't think really at this stage we need to worry too much about the differences. Some people would class meditation as a more powerful, possibly extreme version of mindfulness. But the simplicity to start with is just giving way so you've got a bit of space from your thoughts. So I'll just play that video now.
We can meditate everywhere, anytime, even 3 seconds, 2 seconds, while you're walking, while you're having coffee and tea, while you're having a meeting, so you can meditate. Many people has a little bit of misunderstanding about meditation. They think meditation meaning think of nothing, concentrate. So push too much. So we cannot block thought and emotion. In fact, we need thought and emotion. So whether you listen to your monkey mind or not, that's the issue. What I call monkey mind is chatting, pala, 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 yada, yada. So monkey mind is giving you opinion. So whether you listen to opinion or not, it's up to you, right? So through meditation, what we do is we have to make friends with the monkey mind. But how to make friends? Just giving banana doesn't work. So right method is you need to give job to monkey mind. How to give job monkey mind? So the simple meditation technique is be aware of the breath. So you ask monkey mind, hello, what's breath? So monkey mind says, yeah, good idea. And be aware of breath. Breathing in, breathing out, breathing in. There's a lot of thought comes at the background. Don't care, no problem. As long as if you're not forget your breath, anything is okay. No need too much concentration. Just simply be aware of your breath. In, out, in, even two breath, one breath. So therefore, we can meditate everywhere, anytime.
Okay, so it really is that simple. We often forget, unless you can sound a bit silly, we actually forget to think about what we're doing when we breathe. A lot of us are guilty of having quite shallow breathing, unless of course you go to the gym or exert yourself doing something physical. It's very simple, but just the act of taking a nice deep breath oxygenates the body. It does bring a bit of vitality to you. You feel a bit more switched on, a bit more focused, a bit more energized. And depending on how you breathe, of course, as well, if you take nice long breaths and relax on the out breath, you can actually find, especially if you're sitting comfortably, you just automatically start to relax and feel better about yourself. So the simplicity of breathing and putting your mind to the breath is very powerful. And it just allows you to tune out a little bit from all of the stresses, anxieties and strains that you get, especially in the modern world that surrounds us with so much media and bombardment really of constant, you could say, irritations, but in some cases just information. And the reason this is beneficial to you and greater even to your learning is that your brain actually assimilates and learns best when it's relaxed. A lot of people get into quite tense classroom situations, or they go through a learning experience where they feel quite anxious and stressed, and they feel they must achieve a certain goal very quickly. And what that actually does, it puts you under an awful lot of pressure, and it's actually quite difficult to learn under those circumstances. It's much better to try and find equilibrium. And what that means is, obviously, you don't want to be so relaxed that you feel just going to sleep. But again, you don't want to be so energized and anxious that you just block everything. So a key thing of being overly anxious, stressed, and feeling that you're on the spot is you get an adrenal release. We've all had those experiences where you feel spotlights on me, a bit of adrenaline. And what that can do, it can actually block you from taking in information and presenting your best self back to an audience, or your best self back in a exam condition, or any condition really where you need to try and bring your intellect to the table. So just by having a few moments to contemplate, relax, zone out slightly, and then find an equilibrium within both your physical and mental state. And you often find that that will give you many benefits. I've got a few on the screen here, of course. One of the ones which is noted more than probably most is the creative potential. If you look at many of the great artists, people that can produce great musical songs, people that can paint great artwork, and of course creativity is in so much. It could be through sport, could be through football, any team sport, or any sport where you really need to express yourself. A lot of that creative potential is unplugged, really. You let the potential come out of you when you've got that moment of equilibrium. Some people refer to this as something called flow state. And flow state, many athletes have experienced where they kind of time dilates, time slows down for them, and they're just able to feel, I'm in control and I'll get the best outcome. And science is analysing this more and more these days. And they're starting to recognise that the brainwave state that we function in is vital. It's very important to how we present ourselves and what potential we achieve. So creative potential aside, we've also got memory and recall. Another one which is so important, especially when you're put on the spot. You often find yourself after an event saying, oh, I wish I'd said this, or I wish I'd said that. I wish I could have remembered. Well, your memory is greatly enhanced when you're able to relax properly, because you can pull on all those things from your past and your experience that are there stored in your brain. But sometimes when you're anxious or in slight fear, or even overly excited, you can't quite pull on those memories. So again, relaxing is really important. Mindfulness helps you to recharge, which is very important. I mentioned earlier that one of the reasons why we sleep, and we have to sleep a good number of hours every night, is because our body requires it. It releases essential hormones, Again, it balances out. Something called homeostasis takes place. It balances our systems out to ensure that we bring our optimal, healthy selves to the next day. And what you can do with things like power napping, and also through mindfulness techniques and meditation, and just taking that time out, is you give your body, again, just that little window of opportunity to recharge. And also from a mental point of view as well. The important thing is, as was just said in the interview there, is not to allow anxious thoughts to come into your mind. If they do, it's fine. Acknowledge them and say, goodbye, I don't need you anymore. Thanks for coming in. I don't need to listen to you right now. And then just go back to the breathing. Because what some of us struggle with, especially early on, is the constant chatter of the mind, which is what the monkey mind is. And yeah, it does keep going. And we just have to practice a little bit just to try and understand that that inner monologue, that narration is always there. But there'll be certain intervals where you can just say, okay, that's fine, I'll put that to one side. And I'm just going to concentrate on something very simple, such as my breathing. So again, I've mentioned how it lowers stress hormones, reduces blood pressure. So it's really good as well, not just for young people, for anyone who's a little bit suffering from hypertension. It improves your mood. I mean, that's a really key thing, because sometimes, for whatever reason, we wake up and we just got out the wrong side of the bed. We don't feel too good about the day. So it's a way of resetting ourselves, putting ourselves in that nice positive state of mind. And I've mentioned the immune function, and how more relevant could it be in these times, where we need everything on our side because the virus is out there. If we can get our immune system functioning at peak levels, then of course that will help us in any type of recovery. So lastly, just to talk about that chattering voice, it's there, isn't it? We all know it's there. We question so many things in life. We think, why did I do this? Why did that happen? Why did that person say that? Why did they look at me like this? Why was this the outcome? And it can drive us a little bit mad. So it's quite healthy just to practice switching it off when we can. Also, the constant bombardment of media. Many of us are addicted to social media, and we enjoy seeing people's comments and likes and what they've got up to in their lives. And sometimes it's just healthy just to understand, it's out there, it's always going to be there, especially in this life we live right now in modern times. But it's nice just to have a little break from it occasionally. And again, it's quite healthy to do that. Just unplug yourself. And I'm a techie, so saying that is quite hard for me, because my life revolves around working with computers. But I understand that, again, balance is key in all things. Okay, so I'll just move on from there. And we'll go on to my ambition. So my goal is quite simple, really. And what I try to encourage others to do is just really pay attention to the present moment. We often forget that it's only the present that we have any influence or control over. What's gone is gone. What I said 5 minutes ago, I can't go back and change that. Whatever I've delivered to you, that's something that's stuck and something maybe you'll dwell on. I can't change that. So really, I've got to free myself from anything like lingering anxiety or lingering thoughts of perfectionists, like I could have done better, because that's gone now. And similarly, when we think about the future, we can have all these possible consequences that could pan out. And many of us, we think about the negative consequences that could happen in the future. And sometimes we have to practice thinking about the positives as well, because again, otherwise we get into a slightly negative frame of mind. But the most important thing, rather than thinking about the past or the future too much, is just bring yourself back to the now. It's commonly said in all practices of meditation and mindfulness, and it's really because the proof's in the pudding, it's true. The influence you have is only in the moment, which is there right in front of you. So let your thoughts come and go. No judgment. That's difficult. It's easier said than done. But it soon, if you practice it enough, puts you into this flow state, which is where you can reach your potential and bring the best about. Unfortunately, it's not something we're conditioned to practice, especially in the culture that I live in. I think we're always celebrating that extreme focus and the buzz of like, I'm really busy, I'm constantly on it, I don't have any time. There's a weird sort of admiration for people that are constantly flat out and living in that hyper state. If you look at the brain waves, they're referred to as beta wave states and sometimes gamma wave states. So I'll move on to a quick drawing or illustration that shows that in a second. And it feels a little bit like you're buzzing. It feels like you've got such an extreme amount of energy that you need to give and dedicate to so many tasks that you're in turmoil a little bit. So let's just show you what this illustration tries to bring that to life. So when you're in normal waking state, you're in what's known as beta. And that's just conscious thought, level of focus, and you're concentrating on the outside world and outside stimulus. Now, some people will move into gamma occasionally. We don't know if you stay there for that long, but that's really like hyper levels of extreme excitement and sometimes anxiety as well. And you don't really want to stay there too long if you can help it, because your brain can get quite muddled and it can be, to some extent, a bit damaging. And then as we start to relax, the great news is we go into alpha state, which is what I've referenced from earlier. And this is that sort of daydreamy state. It's where you really just feel like you want to stare at something and maybe don't want to move your eyes away. It just feels really nice just to let that moment, embrace it and just really go with it. And that's really healthy. That's when you're actually starting to reach a level of relaxation. And further from that, you can get into theta, which is an even deeper level of relaxation. Hypnotherapists are very keen on this level because the idea is that's where you're able to put suggestions forward and it goes more into the subconscious thought patterns. And then when you sleep, you often go into delta, which is a very deep state of sleep. It's beyond REM, so there's no dreams taking place. And that's again where your body really heals itself. Very, very valuable to the body in terms of the healing potential there. Okay, so I'll just move forward. I've touched a little bit on this, how it can help with learning. Of course, that's really something that's important to today because as much as it's important to relax and find that balance, we want to see what we can utilise with these techniques. What can we actually do with them to help us with learning, especially in these circumstances? So, yeah, I mean, really, it's a case, as I've just mentioned, of just finding that time in between your learning, just to have a little bit of a switch off. Because most of us have got attention spans that last for approximately 20 minutes. And after that time, it's quite difficult to keep going. It varies from individual to individual. And of course, you can train yourself to have a greater attention span. But it's quite healthy just to have 5 or 10 minutes where you do something completely different. In some cases, it might be, for me, playing the guitar. It might be just going for a walk. Some people, I know when I enjoy playing football, I'll go out and try and do 100 kick-ups with a football. And actually the repetition of trying to do something like that again and again is good because it's a bit like the breathing. You put your thoughts somewhere else and you don't let any thoughts come in from elsewhere which really dominate, your frame of mind for that moment. So yeah, have a break. Another great thing that many geniuses have always stressed, and I can't find the quotes right now, but to sum it up, they say that sometimes it was only when they moved away from the problem that the solution came to them. And sometimes people say sleep on it. You've got the big problem in front of you, and when you're right in the middle of it, buried in it, you can't work it out. You go away, have a sleep or meditate, find some room to just let your subconscious do a lot of processing, come back to it afterwards, and all of a sudden, like magic, things just click into place. My daughter, who's just learned to ride a bike, a great example. So she was struggling for days and days and days. She just couldn't get her balance, couldn't ride the bike. And she was getting quite stressed out in the moment of trying to do it because, of course, her thoughts were getting in the way and they were making it more of an obstacle for her. But then after resting and sleeping, she found every night, every morning after she had a good night's sleep, she'd come back and the improvement would be there because the brain's amazing and it assimilates so much when we're not consciously aware of it. So just by switching off for a little while, sleeping, resting, not directing her alpha state conscious thoughts to the problem, her brain figured it out, spotted the patterns, worked out how she needed to, her balance needed to be applied. And that's amazing. So that, again, it just goes to show that we don't always need to be so hyped up and stressed out about every situation to get the solution. Sometimes it's a case of just having a break. Okay. So thank you very much. That's the conclusion of my mindfulness session today, and it's really an introduction. And what I'd like to do and hope to do in the future is maybe bring forward a few more techniques, give a few more examples, and also just help you with any questions that you have in terms of how you can bring a bit of equilibrium and mindfulness into your life. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Trevor. It's really, really appreciated. There's, would you be able to share that image of the brainwaves with Nish, and then we can put it up for people who want to access that? Because I thought that was really, really interesting.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'll share that.
Brilliant. You're a gentleman. Well, what does the never-ending weekend, but still be marked with a term or label we use called Saturday? What does that bode for you?
So the never-ending weekend, did you say?
Oh yeah, is it this every day? Because are you leaving to go to your place of work, or are you leaving the house, man?
No, I'm lucky enough that I can work remotely, so I'm still here. So I'm working from home at the moment. But I think again, it's quite relevant to the chat that I just gave. Sometimes the spillover from the week, you find it difficult to switch off. So I'll end up over a weekend, maybe something's quite pressing, and I might end up returning to it because I feel. Otherwise I won't sleep so well, which is quite interesting in itself because we often find that even though we should be having some downtime, the way our brains work is something will crop back up, you go up, and you have to do something to try and get it out of your head.
The monkey mind.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, brilliant. Well, I hope you have a great weekend, buddy, and really look forward to having you again next week. And thank you so much for your time and your expertise.
Great, thanks so much.
Catch you in a bit.
Okay, bye-bye.
Hey, Nish.
Hey.
So, and now we get to the end of another week of Stream School. What's been your highlight apart from my pink top making everything pink around me?
I'm Actually, I am loving the pink top. I do always love Action Jackson in the mornings, and this mindful session is it's like thought-provoking. I like it. It's nice.
Yeah, maybe a good, and also it's really interesting. Like, we've put this together just as a, collective trying to do something, but I think the next week or two, especially if the school's still going to be out for maybe the rest of this half term, is I think we could actually think about where we're placing separate lessons now. Like, exactly like Friday the last. It's a really good place to have that mindfulness one, or is it going to be good to have right at the beginning of a Monday? And do you know what I mean? Start thinking, actually, if we've got a lot of people watching this now, we've got to kind of do them right. But yeah, can't thank you enough for your help as ever. Really, really appreciate it. Really, really grateful. And I will leave you to round off the week.
All right, cool. So this session today didn't really have a task, and it's something that Trevor's going to go talk more deeply about as his sessions continue. But he wants people to be able to take 10 minutes out of your busy week to practice the art of relaxation. So at the moment, I assume just find something that makes you feel relaxed if you can. But yeah, he said he'd go more into the art of relaxation as we go on. If you've missed out on anything, the rest of the sessions are on Facebook and on YouTube. All the links to any resources and tasks are on there as well. And then you can also go to the Stream School website over here, which the link will be on Facebook and YouTube as well. And there is a code, it's me123, and you just log in that way and you'll be able to find everything.
Brilliant. Thank you so much again, my dear. And really look forward to seeing you early first thing on Monday.
Yeah, see you on Monday.
Catch you in a bit.